So hey guys, and welcome back to another Access 72 video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview and I'm here with Jack Hughes. Jack, how are we?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the channel.
You're very welcome, mate. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and am I right in saying you're a 30-year-old super flyweight who's 8, 2 and 1?
Yes, you are.
Okay, well if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like video if you do need like video, and let's get straight into it. So, the question which I always like to start off with, why did you start boxing?
It's quite a funny story. It was when Ricky Hatton was fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't into boxing at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
never watched it. Had no interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was back on the old MSM days,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends made a little MSM group chat,
Right.
and they were obviously the caption was Hatton versus Mayweather,
Mm-hmm.
and they was all like trying to get me to buy the fight because
Right.
at the time I was like 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that my mum would be the only one that would have
Yeah.
brought it. So after a bit of convincing, I was like, "Yeah, man, come
Mm-hmm.
over, we'll watch it." Like, I have no interest in it, but like have the lads round and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it just come on, mate, I just was instantly, I don't know what happened, but instantly just fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 2 months later, on my 16th birthday or however long it was,
Mm-hmm.
I was down the gym
Mm-hmm.
boxing at Wrightsham District Boxing Club, and that's how it all started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good story. It's strange how certain things just end up happening, but that's just a good story, man.
Thanks.
And so, do you remember what happened in your first amateur fight?
Yeah, I remember. I think I was boxing for about 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I was meant to have a fight, and the guy pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously heartbroken at that time, and then a couple months later or weeks later, I ended up getting another fight on a home show,
Right.
and I think it might have been that kid's debut as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was like much taller than me because this is back when I used to fight at like 57 kilo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was much taller than me, and I think I put him on 2 standing counts. So if I would have put him on one more, I think in amateur they stopped the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
So I nearly got a stoppage on my debut.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it was a good night to remember.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so, what was your biggest achievement from your amateur time?
I didn't really achieve anything, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I only had 10,
Okay.
but in that time I won a under sevens bout Northwest London Championships,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't really think is classed as anything really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that would have been my biggest achievement.
Mm-hmm. And so, how old were you when you ended up turning professional?
I was 24.
Okay. Okay. And so, why did you turn professional when you did?
So I got back into. So I had I stopped at 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a couple years out, and then I got back into it. I think about 23.
Mm-hmm.
I'd boxed for about a year as an amateur again, and my friend Luke Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
who is a retired pro now, he just got in contact with me after he watched one of my fights again,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Oh mate, I didn't know you got back into boxing. I watched your fight. It was like good to see, and so on and so forth." And we got
Yeah.
speaking, and he just told me that he was having his professional debut.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down to watch him, and like the atmosphere was just incredible. It was at York Hall, like the home of British boxing, and I just loved the whole atmosphere and the whole vibe of it. And I was just like, yeah, I think this is what I need to do. So at the end of that season, I was 20, I was nearly hitting 24 by that point, and I was just like, I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
So I think this is the time now. And then yeah, that was it. I just decided to turn over.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And so far you of course gotten the 8 wins, but you have unfortunately suffered the 2 defeats. But both times you've managed to bounce back. And so, how tough is it to bounce back from defeat?
I don't think it's that hard. I mean, I just think if you're a mentally strong person, which I like to consider myself one of them, like, I think it's you just literally you just go back, you just get on with it. Life goes on; it don't stop for no one. You just go back to the drawing board, you make adjustments, and you come again.
Mm-hmm.
So it never really got to me. It never really disheartened me in any way. It's just part of life. We all take wins, we all take losses, and that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And so, in your prior answer, you spoke about how York Hall is one of the home of British boxing, and you are, if I'm right in saying, you fought in York Hall in your last fight.
Yeah, all my fights have been at York Hall.
Oh, right. And you kind of counting that as like somewhat of like a home now for you.
Yeah, it pretty much is, because my promoter, all the shows he does or is at York Hall. So
Right.
yeah, it's like my home ground now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's great. And so you have fought and have won the Southern Area Super Flyweight title. And also, what was it? What was the feeling when you managed to get your name called out after winning that last fight?
Yeah, it was pretty good, mate.
Mhm.
It's basically everything I dreamed of, you know.
Mhm.
Well, I say everything I dreamed of. When I actually turned over, I didn't even know such things like Southern Area
Right.
titles and stuff existed.
Mm.
But when I heard about it, I was like, oh, this is obviously like this is what I need to achieve. So
Mhm.
it's what I've worked my whole career for. Like I've always spoken about it,
Mm.
like I kind of like dreamed it and
Mhm.
envisioned it for
Yeah.
years. And it's been a long road, you know, with many ups and downs. 6 years it took me to get there, but I
Mhm.
finally got there in the end. So yeah, you know, job completed.
Definitely. And so, out of your 8 professional wins, which fight would you say you've performed your best in?
But probably was my last one.
Mhm.
You know, 10 rounds against a good opponent with a lot of amateur experience, way more than I ever had.
Yeah.
I think he had like 80 fights compared to my
Mhm.
10, and professional wise, we was or had about the same amount of bouts. So he's probably had nearly like 70 odd fights more than I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely my last one. It was quite a clean performance. In my opinion,
Mhm.
the scorecard was much closer
Mm.
than I had it, but I mean, I got my hand raised at the end of it, and that's all that matters.
Definitely. And so you've been in the professional game for a decent amount of time now. I mean, 11 pro fights. And so, what kind of keeps you motivated to keep coming back and going through training camps and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I just loved boxing.
Mhm.
Like that was it. That was all I ever really did it for, was just the
Yeah.
love sport. I retired in 2020, which really in hindsight was a good time to retire because of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I felt like I missed it.
Mm.
And not only did I miss it, I felt like I didn't achieve
Mm.
what I wanted to,
Mhm.
and so that's why I come back. And now I've achieved everything I've wanted and way more than
Mhm.
I ever thought was possible. So yeah, now I'm happy. You know, I've done everything I needed to, and the thing that kept me going was the love for it, really.
Mhm. That's great. And so, you've fought for this title, and I don't know if you're going to be wanting to defend this title or kind of move on to something else. What's kind of coming next for you?
Oh, you obviously haven't seen, but I've actually retired again.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to fight on the 12th of November, which
Mhm.
is this weekend.
Mhm.
Um, and I said it was going to be my last fight. Once I had already won the title, I announced that in my change room that I
Right.
was basically coming to an end.
Mhm.
Just because I've been in a lot of hard fights
Mhm.
over the years. I've got quite a fan friendly style.
Mhm.
I just began to kind of fall out of love
Right.
with boxing. And once I achieved everything I wanted to and
Mhm.
more,
Mhm.
it was just the right time. And then me and Paul, we ended up winning Southern Area Fight of the Year as well for
Wow.
our fight, which is probably more prestigious than actually winning the
Yeah.
title
Yeah.
itself. Because out of all the years I've been in boxing and all the people I know, I don't know anyone that's won that
Yeah.
award.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was amazing. And I was just training one day, and then I just was like, you know what,
Mm.
I'm happy, and this is enough for me now. So I decided just to call it a day, and
Mhm.
and that was it. You know, as I said, I'm more than happy with everything. I've overachieved, if anything, and I've
Mhm.
proved a lot of people wrong. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm happy.
Fair enough. And so, I mean, of course, I didn't realize this. And so,
Yeah.
are you trying to maybe like stay in the sport and do coaching, or are you like fully going away from the sport now?
Yeah, no, I'm staying in the sport. I've applied for my coach's license. I'm
Mhm.
training down in Evolved Boxing Gym
Mhm.
with my friend Andy Gill, who runs the club.
Mhm.
He's sorting out my license for me, and I'm going to be basically his right hand man down at
Mhm.
the gym. And he's got like some great fighters down there. He's got Jamie Smith, who won the Southern Area title on the same date as me, who's been in the Boxer tournament as well. I
Mhm.
think he got to the semi final. He's got the Fringpong twins that are down there. Lewis Fringpong just had a fight on, I think it was BT Sport.
Mhm.
He won that against a pretty good opponent, and he's hoping to get a Southern Area title shot next.
Mhm.
Lad called Brandon Webb, Andy's son Pat Gill, a woman called Jules. I think her name's I can't remember a lot. Jules Horde. So yeah, there's loads of great talent down there, and they're a great bunch of lads. So that's where my future is going to be now. It's going to be in coaching.
That's great. And so, will you possibly, well, if coaching doesn't really work out for you, would you ever thought of possibly doing like commentating or punditry for the sport?
Yeah, so I actually do quite a lot of reviews on small hall events.
Mhm.
I've done one on down at the O2, and I always go to York Hall for like Mo Pryor and my promoter Steve
Mhm.
Goodwin. I do all this promoting on their shows. I've actually got in contact with maybe doing the commentary next weekend for York Hall. I'm just waiting on
That's
a
great.
response for that. So yeah, I'll be involved in that way. And I want to start my own little kind of brand up as well,
Mhm.
doing like as I said, because I do reviews and we'll get into the commentary. I
Mhm.
just want to start my own little thing up with that.
Mhm.
I did have a podcast, but I kind of just kind of got bored of it really, the podcast, so I stopped that. But I had quite
Mhm.
a few big names on there. I had like Maxi Hughes and Jamie Cox on there,
Right.
and other people that I know in the sport. So yeah, man, I think the future in boxing is going to be bright for me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. That's good, and I always like to see fighters that when they do retire, that they do kind of keep around the sport and don't just kind of go afloat. And it kind of helps, like especially fighters when they're retired, to have a focus on something and not to
Mm.
just kind of like think there's nothing really more to do. You've still got a focus of a career kind of with boxing still.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like, if you don't have like dreams or ambition to do something in life,
Mm.
it can get very boring and very stale. And
Yeah.
I've always been that kind of person that's always had something to keep him
Mhm.
kind of going and motivated. So this is like I had my boxing. I kind of like I don't want to say I got bored of it, but I fell out of love with it
Yeah.
for many reasons. Like
Mhm.
boxing is a very hard sport,
Mm.
and there's a lot behind closed doors that people don't see.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then once that, and I got to where I wanted to, so I achieved my dream,
Yeah.
and now that I've achieved that, I'm moving on to the next thing to keep me going and keep me motivated in life, and the next thing is obviously coaching, and I'm sure I'll pick up some side quests along the way, and so yeah.
That's great. Okay, and so I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
Yeah, well, I'll just shout out, just basically shout out to all the people that supported me throughout my career. They all know who they are,
Mhm.
and instead of actually fighting on November the 12th, I'm actually throwing a retirement party, so they're all coming down there
That's
for that.
great.
So just everyone that ever brought a ticket off me, everyone that ever sponsored me, everyone that helped me with training, my coaches, just big shout out to everyone, all of
Mhm.
them.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much for doing this interview, mate.
Thank you for having me on, mate.
Great. And maybe a little bit further along down the line. I mean, you say that you're into like interviewing and review of small kind of shows. Maybe we could do a little like small hall review show together or something like that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Whenever.
Great. Okay. Well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and thanks for watching.